I see you, Jeremy and Simon. So we're at the Wildcat Sanctuary today in Sandstone, Minnesota. It's Happy Halloween. And here at the sanctuary, the cats have finished playing with their pumpkins and other things. But what today is really a big day is that we are winterizing the sanctuary. And often people ask, what does winterizing entail? Well, we drain all their pools and blow out their lines so that their pools don't freeze over winter. We have contractors on site checking and cleaning all of the boilers in the 7 big cat buildings, the animal care buildings, since they all get heated buildings. Also, they're putting the finishing touches on running heated water bowls to areas outside. That is snow on the ground. We did get snow last week. It's pretty early, this temperature. I don't know if the boys will come up and say hello. The vet is actually in checking on Daisy today, so the boys are going into the building interested to that. We also run temperature controlled dens in many of the bobcat areas, so they're running electricity to those today. Putting in the heated water bowls, checking the boilers in the animal care buildings, filling the dens with bedding, so anybody that wants to sleep outside has soft bedding to stay on. But these guys are really kind of getting winterized themselves. All of our cats here are getting thick dapple coats. They'll spend a lot of time outdoors in the winter. We can go see, since it's Halloween today, we will see if Shadow, the black leopard, will say hello, because on Halloween we want to celebrate black cats just like we do on Friday the 13th. You can see some of, I'll show you, they all had pumpkin smash play, and some of them, the pumpkins did not make it. They're in the habitat cracked open. So here in Sandstone, Minnesota, it does get cold in the winter, and that's why we definitely provide indoor temperature controlled buildings to all of our cats. Here's Shadow, who is sitting up high. No playing with the phone, Miss Shadow. So some of these must be new to our page. We are the Wildcat Sanctuary in Sandstone, Minnesota. None of the cats we rescue can live in the wild. Sadly, we would love to see them in the wild, but they've been born in captivity as pets or exhibit animals. Some have been mistreated or have health issues. Others are non-releasable wildlife because they were injured. So we are final home for all the cats in our care. We do work with rehabbers and other people. We've been consulting on a rehabber that called us with a bobcat with a fractured leg that was hit by a car. And everybody's goal is that if that bobcat can heal, it'll go back into the wild. I see you upside down there, Shadow. So they're doing surgery on that bobcat today, and hopefully it will be releasable back in Iowa. Shadow's in a difficult spot in our enclosure to get, but you can see in her enclosure they finished the ramping system for Miss Shadow so she can kind of go everywhere. She has a 7,000 square foot habitat. It's just so dense that it's really hard to see past anything. You can only see it in little sections on the camera. Miss Shadow, what are you doing? So all I can really see right now is her tail and her rear end, because she is smelling the log in front of hers. So we'll go see if the boys are out. So we'll see if Simon, I see, is out. So we are the Wildcat Sanctuary in Sandstone, Minnesota. We're a last hope rescue for big cats. I can see Simon right in the corner. But my camera's on the wrong side of the phone to be able to get a good shot. We'll see if We can see them on this side of the tree. So we're often asked, you can see it's very different at the sanctuary in the winter than in the summer months. In the summer months, we have lush, tall grass, trees, leaves on the trees, bushes in the enclosures. And come winter, the grass dies down, the trees lose their leaves. It looks a little bit more bare here at the sanctuary, but our cats love 4 seasons. And so Halloween, usually we don't see snow on the ground, but we have a little bit of snow. Simon and the other tigers get their big, thick coats, and they do just fine in the winter. They actually will be outside even in our coldest temps, even though they have access to temperature-controlled buildings. Jeremy's coming right along the fence line too. Hi, Jeremy. Trying to focus on Simon while you have a tiger closer to you can be a challenge. See if, there we go, it'll focus in. So we're located in Sandstone, Minnesota. We're a last hope rescue for big cats. This is Simon and his brother Jeremy's walking around. It's Happy Halloween here, so we were just showing the black leopard, and they had pumpkin toys today. They were playing with all their pumpkins. But Simon's just kind of hanging out, enjoying the cool temps. Hi, Jeremy. Jeremy's right at the fence. These 2 boys actually were born at a city zoo, and the zoo wanted to ensure that they could get AZA accreditation. And AZA, the American Zoo Association, does not support breeding and exhibiting white tigers because they are not conserving the wild population. They do not have conservation value. And so they actually reached out to us and asked if we would take their final offspring as long as they no longer bred white tigers. So it was a win-win for everybody. So you can see Shadow's at the really roof of her enclosure, so there's a lot of fencing there. She loves to be up high. She was just playing with that. And so a lot of things we get asked a lot is, or say a lot, was we don't like the fences. We don't like seeing the fences. We don't either. But it is for their safety and ours. We are not the ones that bred big cats to live life in captivity. We are a rescue organization and sadly can provide them a home for life here, but they cannot be released into the wild. So anybody that's disappointed ever in seeing big cats behind fences, we ask that they join our cause and help us create a world of no more wild pets where big cats don't need to be rescued from backyards, basements, or roadside zoos. We only support accredited and reputable zoos breeding animals for species survival. We don't support backyard zoos or people that are not providing true species survival plans for these animals. So we'll go over and take a look at some of the cougars. So you can see we don't have a lot of snow on the ground yet, but many of the cougars are up on their platforms. So Diane's asking if we do tours. We are a rescue organization that is not open for tours. We do have a volunteer program, and we are accepting applications for 6-month internships at this time. But we've chosen to not be open to the public because many of the animals we get don't do well on display. But we do want our donors to see where their dollars are going, and that's why we do always need help with volunteers to help build habitats, structures, manage the grounds. All the cats do well in the snow. The biggest challenge we have is when the cold temps and the snow comes is that cats that sadly have been declawed by their former owners walking on that scar tissue. So we will often shovel paths for them. We're going to go up and see They see Denoma's sitting close to his building. And this is their indoor temperature control building, so they have access anytime to go into their indoor bedrooms where there's heat, but cougars don't mind the cold at all. We might get a little hiss from Denoma here. Hi, beautiful boy. But you can see he's just using a little tuft of grass as his pillow. He's a little annoyed with me this close, giving his tail's going, but Denoma is a wild-born orphan, so he's not as socialized as some of the captive-borns. But he's a beautiful, handsome boy, and you can also see somebody's rolling around on their perch. From this far away, I'd have to see who it is coming down. Looks like Carlo or Noah. You might hear some whistling or chirpings like what I just did. That's the cougars talking to each other. You also might hear cougars be called pumas, catamount, panthers. They were discovered by so many settlers that didn't realize they were discovering the same species of cat, so they go by a wide variety of names. So this is Carlo and Noah coming up. Casey is asking if we ever play with the animals and pet them. We are a hands-off facility. Many of our cats have come to us because they have injured humans. Callie, the tiger, was actually used for a photo prop at county fairs and injured a child. And we don't want the animals to pay the price for being what they are. So we choose to really blend them into their own social groups here at the sanctuary and try and make friends with their own kind. Even though they might be solitary in the wild, they do benefit from social groups. You can see Denoma is not as happy as Noah was about the cuddle session. So my fingers are cold. It's probably about 45 degrees here today, and we're wearing winter jackets, but you can see these guys aren't cold at all. Where we really be cautious of is our African servals, leopards, you know, the lions, things like that. They all get great winter coats, but because they're warm weather species, we definitely give them temperature controlled buildings to escape to and let them decide how they want to spend their winter days here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. Denoma, how are you, handsome? You can hear them entering the building right now. Those flaps are flaps that keep the wind and cold out. So they walk through the flaps and then they enter into their buildings. It looks like Denoma's going to go into his bedroom. So we're the Wildcat Sanctuary. We're located in Sandstone, Minnesota. We're last hope rescue for big cats that have been abused, neglected, or just in need of a home. None of the animals we take in can be released back into the wild, sadly. We would never put an animal in captivity if they could actually be wild. So the cougars are just walking around today. You can see we've emptied pools, tipped over pools for the season. People often ask if we mow the grass. Well, we don't have to. It dies this time of year, given that we have 4 seasons in Minnesota. And so the snow will start coming, and we will shovel paths inside enclosures for older geriatric cats that might not want to walk through the snow. But young cougars like this, they just run through it. I don't know if you can hear on the phone Shanti in the background. Yep, that is Shanti roaring. So it looks like, I was wondering if Raja and Liberty were outside, and I didn't see them, but I do see Raja curled up along the fence line. Every time I think that a cat wants to be inside in the toasty warm, I find them outside just taking a nap like cougars would do in the wild. Raja! So he's curled up there on the left. Often in the sun we'll see him curled up on the cave, but today they're just enjoying the warm ground. And Vista is over, you probably can't see her, she's off camera. She's walking up her fence line. So the snow has just started to fall here in Sandstone, Minnesota over the last couple of weeks. Usually we won't see heavy snow till we hit December, and then January is our coldest month. We have 7 animal buildings that we keep heated all winter long, as well as all the dens and all the bungalows for Hybrid Haven. So it can cost us upwards of $5,000 a month just in electricity, and even more in propane to keep all the heated areas. But it's important for us that these animals have choices to get out of the cold or to play in the snow, whatever they prefer. We have over 110 cats at the facility right now, ranging from domestic Bengals, Savannahs, African servals, bobcats, lions, leopards, cougars, lynx. It looks like we have a 2-headed cougar, but that's actually, the back is Raja and the head facing us is Liberty, so they're curled up together. So today we're just taking a calm stroll around the sanctuary while the staff is winterizing the facility, and wanted to wish everybody a happy Halloween and have a safe trick-or-treating this evening.